So boys and girls, did you get that? Rahab was a Canaanite and she worshipped false gods. Rahab was someone who did not obey God's laws. She was actually an enemy of the nation of Israel and of God. Now, I wonder if you noticed how much Rahab knew about God and what he had done already in the past for the nation of Israel. News of all the incredible things that God had done for the nation of Israel. If you don't know what God has done for Israel, if you're sitting going, what is Janine talking about? I want you this week to go get your Bibles out. You can get a children's Bible, they're my favorites. Go and get your children's Bible out and get your moms and dads to start reading to you from Genesis and go and have a look at all that God did for the nation of Israel. So news of this must have spread far and wide. It was incredible things. And Rahab heard about Israel's God. And you know what? She had faith in him. But what is more important is to note how her faith worked itself out in obedience. You see, boys and girls, Rahab's faith caused her to act. She hid the spies. Her faith caused her to act by asking God for mercy when he judged Jericho. And it was by faith that she followed the instructions that the spies had given her. Her actions showed her faith in God and his power to save. Boys and girls, faith can be described as belief in action. Boys and girls, it's like if you got stuck in a tree and an adult came and encouraged you to jump into their arms. Would you jump? What do you think you'd need to know about the adults before you would jump? What if a young child told you to jump? Would you jump? You see, Rahab placed her trust in God because she knew what he was like and how he had rescued his people from Egypt. God's power had actually caused the rest of the Canaanites to tremble in fear, but it caused Rahab to ask for mercy. Rahab's faith caused her to trust in the rescue plan that was provided by God through the spies' instructions. Rahab didn't question how a scarlet cord hung from her window would keep her and her family safe. She simply obeyed immediately after the spies left. What do you think would have happened if Rahab had not obeyed the spies' instructions and if she tried to make sure that she was safe another way? What I want you to see, boys and girls, is that it wasn't Rahab's obedience that rescued her, but rather it was that her obedience showed about where Rahab's faith was, that Rahab had placed her trust in God to have mercy on her. And so she did what he said. Rahab was not the only person who knew the truth about God in Jericho, but she was the only one who asked for mercy and trusted God's plan by doing what he said. We all need to trust and obey in the same way if we are going to be rescued from sin and death. Simply knowing the truth, boys and girls, is not enough. Just like Rahab, you and I can also be friends with God when we trust him to rescue us from the problem of our sin. God gave Rahab instructions which she had to keep in order to be safe. God has also given us special instructions. We need to trust that Jesus' death on the cross will make us safe when God punishes the sin of the world. There is no other rescue plan, boys and girls, only Jesus. Did you know that God had special plans for Rahab? She became, remember we started off by saying, I said she's a Canaanite and she was an enemy of God and his people, but God used her. Do you know that she became King David's far-off grandmother? That means that she also became the great far-off grandmother of Jesus. And so just as the blood on the doorposts kept the Israelites safe during Passover when they were in Egypt, the scarlet cord in Rahab's window protected her and her family from the judgment that God brought on Jericho. And one day, her far-off grandson, Jesus, would die on the cross. And his scarlet blood, boys and girls, covers our sins so that we too can be saved from the judgment of God. Rahab, an enemy of Israel in Canaan, heard what God had done to rescue his people, and she asked in faith to be rescued too. What we see here in this first lesson in Joshua, is that God graciously saves anyone who asks for mercy and obediently trusts the rescue plan that he provides. Boys and girls, and moms and dads, have you trusted in God's rescue plan that he has provided for us in the death of his son Jesus? If your answer is yes, then is your faith in Jesus seen in your obedience to him in your daily life? Remember, we said that Rahab had faith and that it was seen in her actions. Don't forget that this great God that did amazing things for the nation of Israel, that caused a Canaanite like Rahab to have faith, is the same God that watches over you and I today. We can confidently put our faith and trust in him. And as our memory verse says, we can serve the Lord. This story is also a great reminder to us that each story in the Bible is part of one big story. And so I've put in an extra video for you guys to watch this morning because I want you to see how incredible God is. And I want you to be thankful that through Jesus, you can be part of his story.